Yes guys, how are we doing on this fine Saturday morning? Today we have got a massive leg session coming up at the factory. Been training with Tone again on a Saturday because my left quad tendon was a little bit tight for a few weeks. I wasn't able to squat and leg press and lunge for a long time. But last week we had a very good session. If anyone follows me on Insta, you would have seen the 5-plate pull squats and they felt beautiful. I had a really good quad session. Even in this diet phase, you know, I felt like I'm pretty much in off season. I've been progressing most of my training, not every session, but most, you know, maybe 90 to 95% of my sessions as we get leaner. I am obviously on this diet phase at the moment. I've had a massive breakthrough week. I've hit 107.7 last Thursday, then weight kind of jumped a bit and I was 108.6 Sunday, Monday, and since I think Monday at 108.6 I've had drops and drops and drops, and I've dropped 2.8 kilos in 4 nights. So I was 105.8 today, but very flat. 106.7 yesterday, and then dropped another 0.9 kilo overnight. Now, you know, there's multiple things that that could have been aiding this. I think it's just a case of I haven't had a high day for nearly 2 weeks. So we were running one high day, spike up, and then pull down for 6 days. But, you know, the fact that we left it a weekend, I've really had a chance to dig a bit of body fat off, and definitely visually you can see a lot of difference. Even though the weeks I was holding weight, you can visually see a change. Obviously with 2.8 kilos coming off, that's definitely going to be noticeable on the visuals. In the check-ins this morning, so I actually sent over the check-ins today. Usually I check in Wednesday, Sundays, but I messaged Cal because he's in Pittsburgh with Naz. I was like, look, you know, what day's Naz on? Do you want me to check in on a Saturday instead? And he was like, yeah, fire him over. So I did check-ins this morning. And I'm happy with the visuals. Obviously flattened off a lot. So I think I'm already preparing for the high day tomorrow. I think you'll run the high day tomorrow because it's a hell of a drop. We don't want to be dropping much more than that. Actually, we want to kind of have a little bit of a spike up so that the average is not as harsh. So yeah, because yesterday, even when I was 106, that was probably my hardest session yesterday. I just felt the weight drops, which you do. Like when you do drop that much weight, you're gonna feel more like you're on prep, and it's just about managing that. You know, pulling down at the right rate of loss. If you try and move too fast, you're just gonna accrue so much fatigue that your training goes a bit sideways. And if you're not pulling off fast enough, well then you're not going to get conditioned for the desired goal, whether that's a show, a shoot, or just a summer or something like that. So I reckon he's going to give me a clean feed up tomorrow, a day off cardio. I've been doing only 5 cardios as well, which is great. So I'm not doing daily cardio right now, which is different for me on prep. Usually I'm doing daily. I've been doing 12k steps every day. I'll run through the fat loss agents and the peptides and the protocol when I'm at the desk, when I'm doing some work after breakfast. But yeah, listen, I'm going to be filming the leg session today, and then I might film the high day tomorrow meal by meal as well, so you can kind of see a day in the life on prep, I suppose we will call this. Prep for what? We don't know yet. Let's just call it prep because we're leaning up. So I'll get back. I'm going to have meal 1, and then I'll run through current stack design. I actually pulled some bloods on Thursday just to assess thyroid and hormones. And you know what? The thyroid's not going to be down regulated whatsoever. If you're dropping 2.8 kilos on, you know, 2,800 calories and 5 cardios with, you know, minimal burners, the thyroid's not going to be down regulated. I'd be very surprised. And also, so that panel covered thyroid, 5 thyroid markers, and then also hormones in terms of testosterone, estrogen, prolactin, progesterone, just to see how the current stack design was affecting me. I feel great. This is probably the best cycle I've done. It was kind of an off-season cycle, but in a diet. And then we've transitioned, and I put a DHT in yesterday, two days ago. Pulled some MPP. So yeah, we'll run through all that at the desk soon. Yes, people, how are we? So we are in the office now. It's a new office that we've been in recently. Converted the toy room for Tony's sister's kids, and we've put an office in here, which is 10 times better, to be honest, because it's your own space. So what I wanted to run through here was kind of stack design, the people, you know, the only stuff that people really care about. But it is interesting to me. I like watching other people's videos as well. Even though we're all pretty much taking the same stuff, it's nice to see certain individual differences. So basically, where are we? So 105.8 today, down from about 113.5 8 weeks ago. So 6 kilos, 7 kilos, 8 kilos. Absolutely unbelievable, that in the freezer, 45 minutes. One of my clients actually said to me the other day, what one is that? And that made me feel old, because I was having these when I worked at David Lloyd. No, when I was on my PT course, when I was 17, I'd grab these from the garage as the first zero before they brought the whites out. Unbelievable on a diet. It tastes so much better. So yeah, about 7 or 8 kilos from 140, which was when I started with my coach. Yeah, let's go into stack design. I've just pulled some bloods on Thursday to see where hormones are, as I mentioned earlier. So on Monday, Tuesday, I'll get the results through of how this current stack design is affecting blood work. I feel great on this cycle. When I first initially started the cycle, it was either going to be off season or a diet. But where I developed the sleep apnea and I didn't have a sleep apnea mask and I was at like 120, what's the point in pushing from there? I wasn't really out of shape, but I was just really fluidy. My sleep now is so much better. I've gone from about 50 breathing disruptions a night, poor, really bad sleep apnea, to last night was the lowest at like 12 for the whole night. So I'm sleeping 8 to 9 hours a night and I'm out of it. And I've actually introduced a few more. We'll run through the sleep subs as well, actually. I introduced a new sleep peptide there as well, which is last 2 nights. Yeah, I've definitely slept a little bit deeper than usual as well. And I always sleep quite well. And I always say to people, if you're prepping, you need your sleep to be perfect, or even if you're in off season, at any time really, but sleep will carry you through prep. My last prep, my sleep in Dubai was so good, it carried me through the really low days and the really hard days of cardio. And unfortunately, obviously I got unwell there and we didn't bring what I wanted to, but you know, that's why I'm dieting down now and just been taking it week by week, and I'm really enjoying it. Apart from yesterday, I don't feel like I'm on prep. I haven't felt like I'm on prep, but yesterday I definitely did. And I'm sure it will hit, and hopefully it hits at the right time. So realistically, you know, like I've always mentioned, I want to turn pro 2027, which is next year, which will happen. I believe it will happen. In my soul, it will happen. But when I stepped off stage last year, I said to Tony, I'm going to full send 2 years here. I'm going to be perfect for 2 years. It doesn't mean we're not going to have a little holiday, a little rest here for 5-7 days here and there. But 99% of my whole life, bar those days off when you're on holiday, I'm going to be locked in and be perfect with everything. And I mean every single variable that you can track daily. I've got my tracker sheet in front of me. I track literally everything. Obviously, your usual, your food, your cardio, your training, that's what all bodybuilders are tracking or controlling. But even down to sodium intake, potassium intake, water, so electrolyte balance with the sodium potassium balance there. Sleep is tracked to an absolute T every night. All my health markers, all my blood work, my blood pressure, every single variable you can think of every week gets tracked into becoming the best man I can be to help me be the best bodybuilder I can be. And I'm 30 now, and I believe I will turn pro next year when I'm 31. And then I still have 4 or 5 years to trying to push to the Olympia and have a few pro preps. And then I've already decided once I'm 35, 36, and I have kids around about that time, I probably won't bodybuild competitively anymore. So I've got 5 or 6 years in me now. And I said to Tony, we're going to make this happen. And she supports me with absolutely everything. Like all of these variables I track, she's in with me. She said to me post-show, I even didn't even have to ask her, but because she would always support me. But when I stepped off that Denmark stage, I said, listen, yeah, I've been on it, but I was obviously self-coached for 2 years, and the last bit of prep was hard, and my head had a little bit of a wobble. Not as bad as what some people self-coach would have. Like, I did a really good job last year. I bought an elite package. Those fasted check-ins at 100 kilos, 101 kilos, it's my best ever look. And that's 2.5 years of coaching myself, so I was really proud. But in terms of bringing something good to the stage, it didn't happen. So next year I want to do that and absolutely nail it. But we have to get lean first before we can reverse an off-season perfectly. So anyway, let's go into the PEDs. 750 test, 400 EQ, 100 MPP, which is 1.25 grams total injectable load. So it's just a 2-to-1 ratio of EQ test to EQ. I haven't had any signs of low E2. The EQ definitely controlled my E2 because usually I would get sensitive nipples on 750 test with the 100 milligram of MPP, because the MPP will enhance the rate of the aromatization from test to E2 as well. But I haven't had no signs of gyno or anything, so I know the EQ is pulling my estrogen at least into range somewhere, but that's why I've had the bloods done. So that was for the first 8 weeks. It's been on cycle about 8 weeks because I'd just been doing 200 milligram of test post show last year, from last year, and I had like a 10-week health phase where I still kind of got quite big from that rebound, but obviously with the sleep apnea it wasn't no good. Couldn't have kept pushing. I would have been at 125, like pretty much out of shape. Whereas I feel so much better at 105 now, like everything feels smoother. So I think next push, like if I reverse perfectly, I'll have a clean push to 115, 120, like clean. I'll still want lines. This is what says Tony, I still want lines in my glutes and serious deep ab development and lower back development, even in off season. That's something that I've promised myself this off season. And it's just about becoming more professional as a bodybuilder every time you do these phases and you get better and better. So now I pulled the MPP last week after the bloods, and we've put in 400 milligram of mast. So the total load has gone up to 1.725, which is 750 test, 400 EQ, 400 mast E. So that's the highest load I've ever done, 1.7 grams. GH is at 7.5 IU. I actually split it because pre-bed was it was causing worse sleep apnea, but that's because I was still high body fat. I did 7.5 one night the other day because I just picked up a pen and I was fine. But anyway, I'm doing 4.5 pre-cardio and 3 pre-bed, just in case that 7.5 would hold any fluid overnight. That's the only reason I split it. But all my clients I would advise who don't have sleep apnea and things like that, just put dose your whole GH pre-bed, all of it, no matter what dose you're doing. So you've got GH 7.5 IU daily. You've got 750 test, 400 EQ, 400 mast E. So the mast E's been the MPP out because it's more of a if I was to push, but you can still use that in a diet, but it was holding a little bit of fluid on the visuals. So 400 mast E gone in straight away. There's no point starting low and tapering up because we are quite close to getting towards the end of the diet. Might be, within the next, 6 to 10, 6 to 11 weeks. Just for that more of cosmetic look, and then I'll probably rebound on TRT and then have an off-season cycle with my coach as well. So I think there's no orals in there or anything like that. That would only be close to a show that you'd use those. You'd literally put them in last minute, to be honest. Apart from Anavar, Anavar's very, very clean. Lipolytics, Clen at 80 micrograms. It's just been bumped, so it's 2. Lipolytics slash peptides. Clen 80 micrograms, SLU at 500 micrograms. This is all pre-cardio. GC1 at 100 micrograms. Reta, which has just gone in 2 weeks ago, at 1 milligram, and we're using it with Tone as well, and it's absolutely fantastic at managing blood glucose levels. I want to get into another full video with, and I'll probably title the video like the most powerful fat loss tool in the world or something like that. I've had my client Jensen, who's fixed his pretty much early type 2 diabetes. Got another client called Chow, who has early type 2 diabetes. So I wouldn't say early, probably a bit more deeper into actually having type 2 diabetes, which we've not, both of those got an Atlas blood test, and we had insulin, C-peptide. Jensen had home IR tested as well. And they're all markers of glucose as well. They're all markers to show if the pancreas is working efficiently. And both of them, that's not the case. They're early type 2. And the Reta's gone in for Jens, and he did 1 milligram when he was dieting, and he's now eating 4,800 calories on a milligram of Reta because the appetite suppression's worn off. He's been on it about 5 months, 6 months. Whereas Chow, we're inputting that in because the bloods I got yesterday. I said you need to run this. So anyway, we'll go into the Reta another day, but so far so good. It's, for me, there is a bit of appetite suppression there at 1 milligram a week. Might have done 1.5 actually, because I think I did 1 and then 500 micrograms. Because realistically, you could run it once a week for a higher peak, and then it will taper off, or you can do Wednesday, Sunday. So the thyroid is in, but not T3. T3, and this is why we've utilised the GC1. GC1 will act on the thyroid beta receptor instead of the alpha. So when you take T3 obviously converts to T3, but it's not going to give you as potent as effect as taking T3. But for me, bodybuilding, using T3 at the wrong time, which again is why I got bloods done the other day to see where my thyroid's sitting, on 100 microgram T4 at this deep into the diet, because I think I've been dieting like 10 weeks or something. And I'm not super lean, so the thyroid shouldn't really be down-regulated, and I'm having a massive drop this week. So it's unlikely it's down-regulated, but the blood work is there to check. People are always like, oh, I feel like it's this, I feel like I got that, I feel like I got that. Get it tested. Just get it tested. You need the results. I've had a lot of clients say to me, I feel like my estrogen's high. And then we've got it tested, it's at the bottom of the range, with the test and EQ. So although you might feel certain things, we can get inside our own heads and emotions get attached. Sometimes it's, yeah, okay, I feel these things and I might have some side effects, but just get it tested, because then you have the evidence to then make the adjustments. Otherwise, you're making adjustments based on intuition, which as a coach, I feel I can do, but I wouldn't want to do it all the time. I like having the evidence in front of me. So Cal was just like, Cal, coach, I've just basically said that I'm with Cal, but people probably know that I'm wearing a Pro Coach jumper. Wouldn't have gone back to anyone else. So yeah, me and Cal working together. He's best in the game. And when I jumped on the call with him, I said, listen, I've done a better job on my own. And I said, that's not right. I said, you're Olympia level. I said, I want your full attention. And he said, yeah, let's go for it. So I teamed back up with Cal. Just to let you all know on here, I haven't mentioned it on Instagram. So anyway, he was like, I just want to pull blood, see where your hormone panel's at, see if we need any T3. I said, I don't like T3. Makes you look flat, strips you down, even at a moderate dose, or a dose that potentially sits you at the better end of the physiological range. The heart rate increase, I just don't feel that it's beneficial. 100 microgram T4 is probably sitting my T4, T3, TSH in a good range. And the GC1 acting on the thyroid beta receptor, there are studies out there showing that the GC1 will give you effects of having the fat loss from the thyroid. But because the heart rate is not stimulated, it's not necessarily going to pull energy from potential muscle tissue, which is what can happen when people are using 50, 75, 100 micrograms T3. Some, even women, I heard, are using that when whether they're on anabolics or not. It's like you're just stripping muscle tissue whilst you're trying to get lean, which doesn't make sense. Also, you're putting the heart under a lot of stress. And also, I see a lot of bikini girls, figure girls, wellness girls if they're hammered with T3, T4, you know, with Tony's diagnosis of Hashimoto's recently, think to myself, you know, that's partly genetic, and we're going to get on, we're actually getting on top of her case, and I'm going to do a case study, like a 12-week transformation. She'd been diagnosed with Hashimoto's. We made the adjustments based on what I advised, and we're 3 kilo down. So you can work around a slightly slower thyroid, or with people with autoimmune conditions. You just need to know what to do and when. And I can't wait to document that. She's doing so well. But when a lot of these competitive girls are using too much thyroid, they are the ones that are messing their thyroid up forever. Now, I don't know, usually your thyroid will recover. Yes, you know, even if you've done 25 microgram T3, 100 T4. And this is only, I'm not saying there's data on this, but I think where potentially autoimmune conditions of the thyroid are more common in females, when using thyroid assistance, I feel that there is more risk to those individuals post use of thyroid. And that would mean you have to stay on it forever. Eventually, you know, the doctors would only prescribe levothyroxine, which is T4, but that's no good for people with underactive thyroid or Hashimoto's. You realistically want a combination of a low dose T3 and T4 together. So yeah, listen, Cal said about potentially putting T3 in if needed. Not going to need it based on this week's check-in. Going to get the bloods, they're going to come back decent. The GC1 is the first time I've run this prep. That's going well. The SLU's doing bits as well in the pre-cardio. Just trying to think what else I have pre-cardio. I have an engineered Evo charge, which has got like a bit of caffeine and nootropics in it. So I take 1 cap of that, which is only like 60 milligram of caffeine, because I don't want too much, because I have Monster coffee, but then I have decaf as well. So yeah, I'm having the SLU, the Clen, the GC1, T4 in the morning, then the Evo charge to get me a bit up for cardio. Cardio's pretty much been a breeze. I think that's all I'm doing now. I think I've run through GH. And telmisartan's in there at 40 milligrams pre-bed, because when I had the sleep apnea, my blood pressure went up a little bit. So it's the first time I've ever used an ARB, but I'm definitely seeing the benefits of that. And I'll keep that in for the benefits to the heart as well, because I had my heart scan and everything was good. So I just wanted to stay that way. No E2 management, because you've got the EQ in there. No SLIN, no anything like that. No orals, we've just put the mast in, so hopefully within the next 3 or 4 weeks we'll start to see good visual changes. 105.8, I'm definitely heavier than last year and bigger, and my lowest was 100.4 to 101.4. That there, the 101.4 was the best look at that condition. If I'm honest with you, like when I was competing last year, like I should have got into the heavies. This is the last year here that I feel like I could get into the heavyweight cap if I competed. Next year with an off season, it's not happening. I'll be a true super heavyweight. But 105 from now, I've got about 6 kilos to 7 kilos max to strip off whilst maintaining my thickness and density and fullness and pop. Bodybuilding is about bringing condition and being the most peeled on stage, whilst balancing the other factors as well, which is the harder thing to do, which is why you have to be careful with fat loss agents and your PED protocol and the type of cosmetic stuff that you use for a prep. Some people have got it completely all wrong. They're running Winstrol from 8 to 10 weeks out. They're running Superdrol from 4 weeks out. Then all of a sudden they're ill and don't make the show because their liver is just absolutely cooked. You know, some people I couldn't run train for 10 weeks. I mean, good God, I sleep so well. And then when I do a little bit of training, it kind of does throw it off a little bit. Yeah, I can get through 2 to 4 or 5 weeks of that. Like, do it 2 weeks before a show, keep it until the last show, and then pull it. Who's running that for 10 to 12 weeks? Some people do, and I just find it crazy. Why do you need that? Get your condition for your show or very close to. Then utilise things like orals and tren so close to a show that you get the cosmetic benefit, and obviously the muscle retentive benefits should be managed through diet and expenditure anyway. So yeah, the timeline's kind of laid out. Keep dieting, just keep enjoying it. I feel good. I'm going to do another 6 weeks of dieting just to see where we are, and then maybe go on to 10 weeks if needed, and then we'll maybe see where the party's at, and then reverse into have a good 6 to 8 week reverse, and then do an off-season cycle with Cal, and absolutely blow up, because I haven't had the chance. I haven't had the chance last year to have my off season. I want my 6 to 8 month off season. I want that. But I said to myself, I want to bring something better than I did for the stage last year, because that's just been on my mind since the show. And yeah, okay, I had 8 to 10 weeks. I had 10 weeks on TRT and ate a bit, but I never had that 6 month, 5 month period of off season. And actually, the body's responded so well in this diet, I cannot believe, which I didn't think was going to happen. And it just goes to show, if I do end up competing as a pro and having not too much time off, I'll be okay, because the body's responding well when you do things right. So I think I've covered everything. I've covered the Retta, GC1, all the peptides, the burners, the stack design. Cardio, I'm doing 5 sessions a week, 3 lots of 45, 2 lots of an hour, just because it's pretty easy at the moment. And then I get 2 full rest days, which I usually take. I usually get done in a week, to be honest, and then take Saturday, Sunday off, and just I do 12K steps every day. I do, if I have a high day on the Sunday or whatever day, like for example, Cal is in Pittsburgh now, so it's quite early. So he'll get back to my check-ins in a few hours before Naz competes tomorrow. And then he'll probably say, run the high day tomorrow, we'll see. But yeah, I've got the visuals in front of me here that I've sent over to him. And I think he'll run the high day. With the high day, I drop my steps to 8 to 9,000, down from 12, enough to digest your meals. And also that will be a high day on the Retta, which is, do you know what? I'm relatively full after certain meals. So it's not from an appetite perspective that I want a high day. Like, I'm eating 2.7K and my meals still go down really well. But once it's digested and I've had a drink and that, I'm okay till the next meal. I'm not really thinking about food all day. Do you know what I'm saying? It just takes the edge off between meals. I have my biggest meal in the morning, sourdough, salmon, eggs, avocado with high fat. And then I have the rest of my fats with oats, egg whites, asparagus in the evening. And then I have the 3 meals in the day that are just carbs and protein. So I really look forward to my meals still, and they're going down well. But it just takes the edge off between. But it'll be excited to see if I can get, if he gives me 800, 900 carb tomorrow and maybe a slight bump in fat, it will be exciting to see how I digest that. So I've still got to do steps after some meals, 5, 10 minutes here or there. And then we'll see what we're saying. So I'm going to wrap up these check-ins, and then we're going to go train legs, and then we've got cinema tonight. We've been on a bit of a horror film run. We've been like every 2 weeks. We saw Hocken, which was about an 8 out of 10. It was decent. The story was good, I feel. What did we see before that? The Mummy, which was a bit different, a bit more Exorcist vibes, which I like. I like demonic stuff. And we've got Obsession, which looks a bit cringy, but we're going to see it because it's a Blumhouse horror. But some people are saying it is 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. So we're going to see Obsession. Then Passenger comes out next weekend, but we're at Telford watching the PCA Universe. So I think we'll go the weekend after. And it's just keeping our Saturday or Sunday nights enjoyable whilst on prep. Like when I'm not eating, because usually me and Tone love going for a Nando's or a meal. And obviously I can't do that at the moment. So we've just been going to cinema, taking a few Diet Pepsi Max caffeine frees, and just enjoying that, taking dinner with us. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I will see you at the gym at Factory to train legs. Right, so as you can see, seated hand to start, warm up, 2 working sets, about 6 to 9 reps. Hit a PB on that, even though we have a new load this morning. And that I think it's hammer strength. Yeah, the hammer strength seated hand's heavy, so I think I'm like 2 off the bottom now for a set of 7. So that's a PB. Now, going too heavy on the extensions is what caused some of my knee issues in the past. So as you can see on that last set there, keeping the squeeze 1 second at the top, I'm not exploding into that top position of extension, and I'm not letting the weight drag me down hard either. There was only 4 plates, top peg, 1 plate middle. I've now got 5 on the top, but I'll only do like a clean 6 to 8. I used to have like 5 on the top, 3.5 on the middle, 4 in the middle. Just putting everything into it. It's like, there's no need for that if it's gonna cause me knees pain, you know. So, deeper. I just seen my client do a set and it's not deep enough, so I'm gonna go and make him do another set. He's getting too heavy. So I'm gonna go a C to him in a minute. But I'm gonna do another set here, so that'll be, I might do a 3rd working as well. The 3rd working will be more of a light pump set, but this will be a heavy set. So I've done a moderate heavy, then I might do a light, because I like that. I'm only hitting quads once a week, really. So I like to get 3 sets of extensions, get some blood in the quads prior to back squatting today, because last week we back squatted 5 plates, paused. I think I got 6. We'll see how it goes today. It's not always about the load. I just want to make them paused with good execution. So we'll see how this one goes. All right, so we just did the last warm up. That was 200. Last week, it was the first time back squatting in like 6 weeks because of my knee. I'd still done some indirect quad work on split squats on posterior days and things like that, but I hadn't back squatted, I hadn't leg pressed, and I had a really good session, probably because I was recovered, fully recovered. But anyway, I sent the 5 plates and I got 6. As I mentioned, I've dropped 2.8 kg in 4 days. Yesterday, Thursday's push, when I'd only dropped like a kilo and a bit, you notice it in your sessions, so I'm going to try my best here. That was 200. I think I'm going to go and try a weight progression of 230 paused for like that 5 to 6 rep range instead of going for more reps at 220. If I don't get it, I don't get it, it's fine. 200 felt a little bit heavier than last week. But sometimes just got to crack on and dig at the end of the day. And if I don't get a good set, then I can potentially do a back off, but we've got a lot more quad work on the leg presses and that. So I just want one top quality set here, which I'll do now. So hip press now. I just did 8 plates inside. This machine here is really going to target something that's quite weak on my physique, which is my rec fem. My quads are relatively developed by the knee, near the VMO, but where my glutes have always been so strong, I've always pulled from the floor. My glutes are tight and strong, but my hip flexors are quite weak, so I need a lot more hip flexor work. So this targets the rec fem because of the angle of the hips and your torso. A little bit different to the Cybex leg press over there. So I'm going to do another working set here. I think I've got 9. I'm going to try 6 to 8 with 9 plates and 8 plates, which is like, I don't know, 17 plates total, all right? Not that the weight really matters, but this would be a PB if I can get a good clean 6 stain on that rec fem in that deep position, getting that knee flexion. I feel like there. So let's have a good set. Right, so seated ham extensions. I actually did abductor prior to back squats because it was busy waiting for the rack. As you've seen, done the back squats, 1 top set, did 5 at 230, which is a progression. I'll take that, still controlled, paused. Then I did 2 sets of the hip press there, which is lovely for the rec fem. Now, this is something I'm just adding in now. I like this leg press as well, and I need a little bit more quad volume, but not through doing more extensions or, you know, another set of hip press, which I could do, but, you know, 2 quality top sets is enough, especially in a deficit, sometimes 1. So I've just done like a feeder set of that and it feels great. Did like 18 to 20 reps, keep the blood in there, keep the tension. So I'm gonna do a slightly heavier set, just staying on the quad, just for a little bit more quad volume, because I feel like sometimes I go missing in the deficit. And it's my aim this year to keep my quads alive, especially as we dig down for condition. You know, I want peeled glutes and posterior, but they need to be full and dense at the same time. So I need to uphold my training performance, which I have. I've progressed on the leg press, on everything today, realistically, which is crazy for 2.8 kilos down. And like even like I said, 8 kilo down from top weight. So we're going to load up with that a little bit now and do a heavy set just for a little bit more quads. And plus I like the Cybex. This is a smooth leg press. It's easy to get a bit deeper than the hip press. Hip press I've really got to pull myself in more rep fem. This is all of the quads. So let's have like a true working set here. Continuous reps until I need to brace and have a breather and then go from there.
Yes!